Guys, Ayumi.
And Eric, you've got it rolling?
Yes, we are live. If, so at the sorry. Well, that was interesting. All right, we want to welcome our reporters from KSBR News. They are here to interview us about the decline in 20% of drug arrests in Laclede County. However, they have been very gracious in allowing us to learn from their professional experience. And so this is very brand new class. So you guys have a lot of questions. Hopefully you can ask what it's like to be a journalist.
So who's the first question?
Okay. Reporter, photographer. That helps. Okay? I'm the pretty one. I'm behind the camera.
And the smart one.
Yes. Any questions you have about broadcasting, television news, being a reporter, the gear, how things have changed in the last 15 years or so doing this? So everybody here is, what, roughly 17, 18 years old? I've been in this industry since I was, for the last 16 years. So when you guys were one, I started. So it has changed a lot. So, questions? Don't be shy. Yes? You don't have one?
No.
Go ahead.
What's the weirdest thing you've seen?
The weirdest thing I've seen? The weirdest? Stephanie, go ahead. I gotta think about this one for a minute. There's been some weird stuff.
The grossest thing I've seen was a dead brains splattered out on
That's
that.
it?
Oh.
Yeah.
That was the grossest thing for me. That they've had different pieces and stuff. I mean, we've been to sewage plants, we've been to feces, houses that are infested with bed bugs. I mean, it's not, you think it's all pretty and glamorous, and then you're standing next to a trash pile that stinks. So, I mean, we get to see a lot in this business. We get to have amazing experiences and, travel throughout the Ozarks and learn a lot. This is my 5th state, I believe, I've worked in. So I've worked in Texas, Arkansas, Tennessee. No, this would be the 4th and the 5th city. But, I mean, you get to meet amazing people, that there's just some crazy stuff that goes on sometimes.
Now, when you say weirdest, do you want weirdest or grossest? Because that's two different things.
Not grossest, weirdest.
The weirdest? Oh, man. Yeah, I'll come back to that one. That's a long list. That's a long list. I'll one that's appropriate.
Like the scariest thing you've had
The scariest thing?
Scariest.
I will not lie, okay? There are times that we end up in places, neighborhoods, houses, that you should not go to without a cop, okay? There are times. You never know what's going to happen when you knock on the door. Realize that while those people carry guns, we don't. So that aspect of what we do is scary, dangerous. There is that you drive down that gravel road and not know who's at the end of it. I pay very close attention to no trespassing signs. Okay, and those are the scariest. Is when you get into an area where you don't have a cell phone, you can't get a hold of anybody. It's just you, or it's just you and her. And at the end of the day, my responsibility is to make sure we get back safe, but also she gets back safe. So a little nerving sometimes, but those are the scariest parts sometimes.
And there are many parts of Arkansas, and sometimes.
Why you gotta pick on Arkansas?
No.
Why you gotta pick on? Have you not been to Lebanon? Oh wait. Oh hi guys.
But there are many parts of Arkansas where they don't have cell service, and so for me, sometimes we're short-staffed, and I'm out shooting things by myself, and all I have is the truck and the equipment, and for somebody who's not familiar with the Ozarks, sometimes if you don't fill up at the only gas station, you're not going to see another for an hour and a half. So when you don't fill up that one gas station, you have no cell signal, and then you're suddenly in the middle of nowhere on these big hills, you're like, what? So my lesson from that for me personally was always fill up the gas station. So, but Chris does a good job of keeping us safe. If he doesn't feel comfortable with something, he'll say something, and I always listen to him, even though he'll say I don't.
How many times have you switched cameras over your 15 years? Like, this is the newest one.
8 different cameras.
Have you broken any of them?
I have not broken any cameras, but I know some people have dropped them in the Lake of the Ozarks.
You better be getting some knocking on wood.
There's a saying that military laws tell you that their rifle is their friend and how much they hold on to it. Yeah, if somebody comes in and switches one thing on that camera, I know about it as soon as I pick it up, pretty much, and it is an extension of me. So I will not drop that, even if I'm on a roller coaster with our chief meteorologist during the fair. The highlight is GoPros have changed a lot of that aspect now to where we can use a GoPro instead of that thing. So it makes it a little easier when you can carry 4 of those on you instead of 1 of those. But it's still, we still don't get the quality that we would normally get when we use one of those. Speaking of GoPros.
Yeah, I want one.
Yeah, that was his prize for his Film Fest award.
And have fun with it.
Hey, I like it. It's easy. I used it in our school shooter training.
It has changed what we do so much. We can take a GoPro now. How many watch CNN? Regular? How many watched during the snowstorms last year when they were driving around? Remember those? How many of you watch KSBR? I love it. If you ever see us driving around with the storms, we're using a GoPro. And the GoPro's on our dash, and we've connected a cable to it to the back of a box called a Nagero. And basically it is no bigger than, a little smaller than that box right there. And it basically allows us to transmit wherever we have cell phone service. So when we're driving around, that's what we're using to get you those pictures of the storm and the snow and the ice and all the fun stuff that we can do.
And it makes it a lot safer for us because, I mean, you know, I'd rather not be poured on and sleeted on and, you know, freezing where, you know, my hands are blue. I mean, I'm from Houston, Texas, so anything that could keep me in the car is a benefit.
You have not lived till you hung out a car window with one of those cameras strapped to you around your neck going 50 miles an hour down the road. That's your next goal.
Achieved.
Uh-huh.
Question?
Some more questions, guys?
What's your
Yes,
favorite?
sir.
For her, what's the shadiest state you ever been?
Shady.
Oh,
Missouri, duh. I'm
There's-
gonna guess it's Tennessee.
no, I actually love it here. I think it's wonderful. It's beautiful. It's the greenest state I've ever been to. I've been to in Texas, both in West Texas and North Texas when I worked there. You know, I'm a Texan, so I'm obviously big proud. I know, but I'm gonna get there.
Uh-huh.
He reins me in. But we ran out of water in both cities. Like we're about to, and we got down to 2 months left of water. So that was pretty scary. Shady would be Memphis, Tennessee.
Oh yeah.
I was
Big
not
time.
on camera then, but there was shootings, murders every single day. I had a house invasion that the station I worked for actually covered, and I lived in a great area of town. So, I mean, that was terrifying. But Memphis, Tennessee has a lot of beautiful things, a lot of great things, but when you're worried, because I worked at 3 a.m. in the morning, and so when you're worried, like you're on the way to work and some dude's following you all the way to your station, and you guys have a gate in order to get in, I mean, it's really unnerving.
Yeah.
And in our business, we don't really make friends, you know? I mean, we tell things like it is. We tell you the truth, but that doesn't make people happy.
Yeah.
And so we make a lot of enemies without even trying because we're there to tell the truth. And that has a habit of making people upset.
Guys, how do you introduce a story? Tell about the procedure when you have a story idea. What are some of the steps that you go through to tell a story with a narrative?
They're character-driven stories is what we try to do. We try to get a peg. Like our peg for today is that crime, like drug arrests in Lebanon are 20% down. So we talk, how are we going to make this happen? So the city PIO is only available, the city police department PIO is only available at 2:30 for us today. We have a 4 o'clock turn for a VOB. That's a VOSOT. So do you guys know what that is? No? Okay, so
Deadline.
that's video, then there's sound on tape, which is like Chris talking or you talking, and then, and then there's more video after it. Yeah. And then we also have, at our 6 o'clock deadline today, we have a pack. And so for us, we wanted to find a good way to post a highlight that, hey, guess what? You guys are doing something good. Your city is doing something good. There's something good coming on. What can we do? So we went through a list of options, and we came through, it is going to be on tonight, and we came through to educational programs like you guys. And so then we called the PIO, set it up that we wanted to have just 2 students, and then we wanted to talk to some official, and that's what we do. But every day we have a meeting at 9:30, and we go through, and I'll pitch ideas, other reporters will pitch ideas. Starting Monday, Chris, who already pitches ideas, is going to keep pitching them, and everybody else is going to pitch them. And then our viewing area and our viewing audience is very interested in crime and weather. And so we try to do things that are us driven, things that we know about, things that I followed about my 4 or 5 months here that I've covered before. And then we go into local newspapers, what's going on. We just try to get a good grasp on the area.
You said you came looking to talk to an official, right? Oh, what'd you come here for?
So the board behind you is the High. That's our storyboard. And so it's new because it's a brand new semester, but it'll be filled before hopefully the next week or so.
It used to be in crown.
Episode.
Like they took a crown and drew it on there, and I was like, that's too.
That's
terrible.
That looks a lot like our story grid.
I took a little bit of vinyl that he had like these strips on his paper, So I just took the vinyl and just put it on there, and then we just cut vinyl little pieces.
That looks a lot like our rundowns that we use on a daily basis in the news. It wouldn't be story length spot. It would be going left to right. It would usually be what block it's in. So the A block, the B block, the C block, and everybody knows what I'm talking about when I talk about those.
No, we don't.
A block is everything that happens before the first commercial break.
Awesome.
B block is between the first commercial break and the second one, so on, so on. Okay. So it would say A1 title would be Lebanon drugs down. It would be the time on the story. It would, there'd be a little bit more of is it ready? A whole bunch of how long it is on those. So it's very similar to what we use.
And so there's a kind of a 3-step process. Typically at the beginning of the month, we'll do our proposals. Obviously those can change, but our proposal is an idea that we all pitch. Anybody can pitch a story idea, and then once you've been accepted, then you've got a team of producers, and then you'll identify those. And typically, you want to have a proposal with a statement. Why is it important to our school? And that'll help identify the people you interview and maybe the B-roll that you're going to capture.
And if I might add a suggestion, I'd add focus.
Yes.
Do a 3-word focus to it.
Yeah.
Subject,
verb, act, object.
Yeah. Why is this important?
Well, and that's on our proposal sheet. Like
Good.
we do. It's a 3-word that we just call it sort of statement.
That's awesome.
And then once we've shot the video and edited it, and then we have to write an anchor statement. And typically, that's a team process with our anchors.
Sweet. That's awesome.
Sometimes I like to have students write it because they're going to have more firsthand knowledge. But
and then it gets approved by me and him both, so that it doesn't get. So if something slips by me, it doesn't stay by him.
Cool. Very neat.
But they really haven't heard about this process, so I'm so excited to hear you reaffirm that it's more or less the same procedure.
Yeah, it is.
Every station you work at, you're going to have something like that. Every pitch you make is going to have something like that. The only thing we'd probably add to it other than focus is live or look live. Do y'all know what live is or look live? Okay, live is whenever you see that bug on it, it's going to say something live, and it'll be flashing on the whole time. And look live is where it's a pre-recorded segment, and then it'll air. And so Chris and I, for example, if we're doing a look live, we won't have to be at, the Lebanon High School until 6 o'clock, which means we will get back until 7 or 7:30. Which, while it's overtime for us, we all would like to get home to our families. So.
I hunted Bigfoot.
Cool.
for this job. For this job, I've hunted Bigfoot.
Seriously.
Yes.
That's
You find him?
that's
That's where it comes to the weird part.
He found a Bigfoot. Was it the Bigfoot?
I found something. All I will say is something was thrown at us by something in the woods away from us. I do not know, but that was the weirdest thing that has happened to me recently.
Now it's getting like finding Bigfoot on an Animal Planet.
think that's real.
It was probably a squirrel, yes. Any other questions?
Any other questions, guys?
It was me.
It was you?
Sorry, my bad.
Okay.
Oh, that's
Mr. Hash.
yeah, that's
Anything else
That's
you guys want to know?
How'd you
Brian
get
Hash.
into this business?
I worked behind the scenes first. My aunt is big in Shreveport, and she's number 2 at her station, but she started behind the scenes, and what she did, her name's Jan Elkins, y'all can Google her, but she was a photographer first, and then worked her up, way her up, reporter, news director, then of course second in command at her station, communications director.
I used to live close to you.
Did you? Yes.
South Arkansas.
Yeah, so you might have seen that then. But for me, I started at KRK, and I worked behind the scenes. And then I spent, I graduated Harding University. I spent a couple of years in Memphis, Tennessee. And I was told that if I wanted to be an on-air reporter, which is my dream since I was like 18, then I needed to go work in a small market. And so I went in a small market in Texas for 2 years. And then I was blessed enough to get here. But you'll pull crappy shifts. You'll work crazy hours. I was an on-call photographer for 3 months, which was for a reporter is interesting to be an on-call photographer. You get a more appreciation for guys like Chris who are awesome. But yeah, you do what you can, and you gotta love it because you don't make much when you first get started in it. But if you want to help people and you want to tell stories, that's why I love what I do.
Any other questions, guys?
He's got the finger out of the hands.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate y'all. Good luck.